10 years! This movie is 10 years old this year. I don't usually feel old, especially because I'm a pretty young guy, but damn! This wasn't just a milestone in LEGO history, but also in animation. It was also so successful that it spawned 3 more LEGO movies. Did they live up to the original one, or were they worse? Well, remember to leave your reviews in the comments and subscribe, because that's what we'll find out today with the review of every LEGO movie. The original LEGO movie came out back in 2014, with a box office result of nearly $470 million globally against a budget of a mere $60 million. This movie was a huge success. Critics and fans alike loved the movie as well. It sits at a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes and even got nominated for an Oscar. But that's what everyone else is saying about the movie. What do I think? Yeah, the exact same thing. I ain't special in the least here. Throughout the movie, we follow Emmett on his quest of self-discovery and individuality. In the beginning, he's just a construction worker doing everything by the books. He's so average that when asked about him, none of his co-workers remember him for anything significant or at all for that matter. All the while, Lord Business, the antagonist of the movie, is trying to use the Craggle to establish order by gluing everyone in their place. Emmett gets sucked into adventure when the piece of resistance gets stuck on his back by accident and he has to carry out a prophecy destining him to stop Lord Business. After many tribulations, he eventually gets thrown out of the LEGO world and we find out that everything so far has been played out by a child. Soon after, we are introduced to his dad, played by Will Ferrell, also the voice of Lord Business, who only wants order in his LEGO city and not some weird story. Eventually though, he recognizes the beauty of his son's creativity, bonding with him, and Emmett manages to convince Lord Business that he is as much the chosen as Emmett himself is. So in the end, Lord Business redeems himself and Will Ferrell's son is allowed to play with the LEGO however he wants. During the story, we're introduced to a plethora of characters like Wildstyle, Batman, Metalbeard, Unikitty, and Emmett's mentor Vitruvius, who dies during the movie in an honestly pretty emotional scene. The LEGO movie manages to tell a story that doesn't just appeal to kids, but to everyone. During all of that, they throw in cameos and a whole lot of humor that honestly lands fairly well. The characters are all incredibly lovable, and both Emmett and Wildstyle have become staples in LEGO culture. Also, I need to talk about the cast, cause it's absolutely insane. I'm just gonna list some of the actors. I'm sure you'll recognize, let's say, at least a few. Chris Pratt, Will Ferrell, Elizabeth Banks, Will Arnett, Morgan Freeman, Charlie Day, Alison Brie, Liam Neeson and Nick Offerman. Those are just the voices of the major characters. The movie also features actors like Jonah Hill, Channing Tatum, Kobe Smulders, Keegan-Michael Key, Anthony Daniels and Billy Dee Williams. What an insane cast. We can't skip past what this movie did for animation either. The directors went for a stop-motion look but used CGI to animate everything. This allowed the movie to be very dynamic but still keep that signature LEGO look, especially through the addition of, for example, such things as fingerprints on figures to make them look more realistic. The directors of this movie were Chris Miller and Phil Lord, and to some of you these names may sound familiar, probably because nowadays they've become the saviors of animation pretty much. They are responsible for the Spider-Verse duology and are currently working on Beyond the Spider-Verse, so it should be to no surprise that they're really good at making animated movies. All in all, the LEGO movie was a revolutionary film at the time it released and holds up brilliantly, so an 8.5 from me. The LEGO Batman movie released in early 2017 as one of 2 LEGO movies of that year. The budget increased by a cool $20 million in comparison to the first LEGO movie, while it brought in a total of $312 million. It sits at a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, making it one of the highest rated Batman movies ever, by the way. Similar to the original LEGO movie, we have a huge plot to nicely decorate the very intimate story actually, which is Batman's journey to open up and let other people into his life. In the beginning, Batman is very dismissive towards everyone in his life. Alfred, Dick, who accidentally adopts towards the start of the movie, and even the Joker. This leads the Joker to let himself and other villains get captured by the Gotham Police Department, which leaves Batman as obsolete. Barbara Gordon was planning on restructuring the police to work without Batman anyways, but Batman doesn't trust the Joker and goes to steal the Phantom Zone projector from Superman. In the Fortress of Solitude, he witnesses a party being held without him, showing how much he's losing connection to his team members, before returning to Gotham and sending the Joker to the Phantom Zone. This was the Joker's plan all along though, and in the Phantom Zone he recruits all kinds of interdimensional villains like Sauron or the Wicked Witch, with which he then attacks Gotham. Batman teams up with Robin, Alfred and Barbara to fight all the new villains, but goes to face the Joker alone since he fears losing his friends. The Joker confronts Batman with the reality of him not being a good person and sends him to the Phantom Zone, where Joker's judgment is confirmed by the Phantom Zone's gatekeeper. Batman realizes the fault in his ways and pleads to be let out for some time to capture all the villains. This wish is granted, and so he goes on to capture every escaped supervillain with the help of the Bat family. Joker planted a bomb though, which goes off and threatens to destroy all of Gotham, but in the end, Batman acknowledges Joker as important and together they save Gotham. Batman doesn't have to return to the Phantom Zone since the gatekeeper sees that he has changed, and with that, the movie ends. Again, it's a story that appeals to all ages, with a lot of fun humor that is elevated by a metric ton of references and cameos. The movie looks just as good as the first one, even though it wasn't directed by Lord and Miller, but rather Chris McKay, who then went on to do The Tomorrow War. Lord and Miller still acted as producers though, and if we're already talking about acting, this movie had a stacked cast once again. It features Will Arnett, Michael Cera, Zach Galifianakis, Rosario Dawson, Ralph Fiennes, Jenny Slate, or Maria Carey, just to name a few. All in all, it's not quite as good as the first one, but I would personally still give it an 8 out of 10. The Lego Ninjago movie is the second Lego movie released in 2017. That may be one of the reasons it flopped at the box office, only grossing $123 million against a budget of $70 million. Critically, the movie was also perceived much worse than the first two, only garnering a mere 56% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, with the first two movies I was very much on board with the ratings, but on this one I think I'm quite far away from it. I actually really like this movie. I don't know why, but it's such an upbeat movie, even through the darker moments, which just makes this movie for me. The film starts off with Jackie Chan beginning to tell the story of Ninjago to a little boy. Lloyd here was abandoned by his father and isn't very popular in school. In secret though, he leads a ninja team and stops Lord Garmadon, who of course is his father, from destroying Ninjago City again and again. Unlike in the actual show, they use max and tech and not the elemental powers, which they don't have yet, but Sensei Wu is still their teacher. After Garmadon has upped his arsenal, he manages to defeat the ninjas and establish control of Ninjago City, which leads Lloyd to use the ultimate weapon on him, something Wu strictly told him not to do. It turns out the ultimate weapon is a laser pointer that summons Meowthra, a cat which proceeds to wreak havoc in Ninjago City and can only be stopped with the ultimate weapon. On their adventure to find that weapon, they are attacked by Garmadon, who is then captured by Wu but manages to throw him into a river at the same time. During their travels, the ninja and Garmadon overcome all kinds of hurdles, and Lloyd and his dad actually become closer. This happiness is destroyed though when they arrive at their destination, and Garmadon betrays the ninjas because he can't help himself let go of his old ways. The ultimate weapon are elemental pieces that can only be used by the ninjas though, which leads to Garmadon being eaten by Meowthra once he tries to use them against the cat. The ninjas arrive on the scene and manage to calm down the cat, giving Lloyd the opportunity to talk to his father in Meowthra's belly and forgive him, which makes Garmadon cry tears of fire. This leads to the cat regurgitating him, and happy end. Sure, the story might not be as appealing as the ones from the first two movies, but I still thought it to be really sweet. In my opinion, visually this might be the best looking movie of the three, just because both the futuristic, almost cyberpunk-esque city of Ninjago and the forest become such brilliant set pieces in Lego form. Now, as mentioned, the story probably appeals more to a younger audience, and honestly, so does the humor, but that's also just Ninjago's age demographic. That is not an excuse, but an explanation at least. This movie was directed by a bunch of different people, and the cast also isn't quite as stacked as previously, but it ain't no slouch either. Some names include Jackie Chan, Dave Franco, Kumail Nanjiani, Olivia Munn and Michael Pena. All incredible actors, but you see a difference on the casting level. Also, I feel like I have to talk about the effects this had in the whole Ninjago theme. This movie goes against everything established in the Ninjago show, which is kinda upsetting, especially because it turns some very nuanced characters into flat and comic relief characters. The ninjas' designs change as well, and overall, this went against a lot of previous stuff in the Ninjago realm. With that in mind, I think I'll give this movie a 7 out of 10. Far from perfect, but I still very much enjoy this movie. The Lego Movie 2 came out in 2019, and it's the last Lego movie to date. It was directed by Lord Miller again, with most of the cast returning as well. It had the largest budget of any Lego movie at $99 million, which didn't translate into the box office though, where it only grossed $200 million, making it another flop. Critics gave it an 84%, which put it far above the Lego Ninjago movie, but the discrepancy between fans and critics get larger, with fans only giving it a 68%. In my opinion, this is the weakest of all the Lego movies, and coupled with the financial disappointment this movie was, Lego must have realized the same thing. Similar to the first film, this one talks about the relationship of the boy from the first movie to his family, this time not his dad though, but rather to his sister. In the Lego world, after the defeat of Lord Business, the Duplos turn everything into a barren wasteland in which our characters from the first movie live, Mad Max style. They are then attacked by Sweet Mayhem, who captures most of our protagonists to take them to her home, the Sister System, aside from Emmett, who then goes on a mission to free them. While doing so, he almost crashes, but is saved by Rex, who kinda becomes a mentor figure to him. In the Sister System, Queen Whatever Wanabe convinces Emmett's friends that she's not a bad guy, but Wildstyle, real name Lucy, doesn't buy into it just yet. When Emmett and Rex arrive in the Sister System, Batman is just about to marry the Queen. Rex says that this will lead to Armageddon, and just before they can completely prevent it, Lucy realizes that stopping the wedding would in fact lead to Armageddon. Rex and Emmett pull through anyways, rescuing their friend and destroying the Sister System. In reality, this is just a boy, Finn, taking back the figures his sister took from him and smashing her builds. This leads to their mother seizing the Lego, which becomes Armageddon. Rex and Emmett end up under Dryer, where Rex reveals himself to be a time traveler version of Emmett, who became disgruntled after Finn forgot about him. Finn and his sister reconcile during this confrontation and build up Queen Whatever Wanabe's world, giving Lucy the chance to join Emmett and defeat Rex. In this battle, his time machine gets destroyed, which leads to Rex ceasing to exist. The new LEGO world is then built by both Finn and his sister. As you can see, the story is a little more convoluted, especially with the time travel stuff, and well, I'm not the biggest fan, as I said. Miller and Lord directed this one, and the cast is stacked again with Chris Pratt, Will Arnett, Elizabeth Banks, Will Ferrell, Jonah Hill, Channing Tatum, Alison Brie, Nick Offerman and Charlie Day returning, as well as new faces joining them. Some of these include Tiffany Haddish, Richard Ayoade, Ben Schwartz and Stephanie Beatrice. This amazing cast doesn't save the movie though. The moral conveyed by this movie was not bad, but it was diluted by all the extra shenanigans, like fucking time travel for example. All in all, a simple 5 out of 10. So that's my review of these movies. I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, goodbye.